Hi, and welcome to season 3 of the Woman Witness podcast on the Woman Witness TV network. I am so excited to have everyone here. And of course, you know, this is a platform where we bring to you voices of women that are out there making a positive impact in their lives, in the community, and the world around them. I am so excited about our topic today. But before we jump in, I want to just start by saying, firstly, I want to thank everyone and express my gratitude to all of those who have supported us through our first 2 seasons of Woman Witness podcast. And throughout the years, all of those who stayed loyal to the Woman Witness network. Your support is truly valued. Okay, so today we will be shining some light on an often overlooked struggle that silently consumes too many. Today we're diving into a topic that affects millions, but often hidden in plain sight, in silence: depression. This silent killer is particularly devastating amongst women, minorities, and underdeserved communities, where the barriers for getting the help can be overwhelming at times. We'll explore the realities of living with depression and unique challenges faced by these communities and individuals, and mostly how to break the silence and break free from this silent, hidden danger of depression. And we'll begin to foster understanding and offer hope. So if you are struggling with something like this, or you know someone else who is, we ask you to lean in, tag a friend, share a friend, because this conversation is for you. Today, I'm going to introduce my guest today, Shaleiah Sanders. She is the founder and CEO of the Life for the Hopeless Foundation, a nonprofit organization out of Charlotte, North Carolina. The foundation is dedicated to promoting mental health awareness in minorities and underdeserved communities. About 4 years ago, Shalia experienced depression and struggled in silence before turning to therapy, which ultimately saved her life. Inspired by her own journey, she established her organization to support individuals facing similar challenges. Shalia aims to challenge the stigma surrounding mental health and is committed to helping others realize that there is hope and a way out of the isolating grip of depression. So without further ado, I'm excited to introduce to you my guest today, Shaleiah Sanders. Hey, Shalia, welcome to the Well.
Hi, thank you for having me today.
Thank you for being here, Shalia. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for your platform. Thank you for coming out and being a witness and sharing your story. It is so important. So I want to give you the floor. I believe I spoke long enough. So I want to give you the floor and ask you to share your personal journey with us and with mental health, and particularly how you overcame that period of that isolated depression that once paralyzed you.
Well, again, I want to say thank you for having me today. As you introduced me before, my name is Shaleiah Sanders, and I am the founder and CEO of Life for the Hopeless Foundation. I started this organization about 4 years ago after experiencing depression my own. But 4 years ago, I didn't know what depression was, so I didn't really understand what I was experiencing. All I know is that I lost my dad unexpectedly in 2020. And then 11 months later, I lost my grandma due to COVID. And I was close with both of them. Both of them played a vital, important piece in my life. So losing them was really devastating. And I had never lost anyone of that magnitude before. So imagine losing someone you love and then 11 months later losing another person. So that's two doubles, taking place in my life unexpectedly. And I'm a single mother of a 14-year-old son. And that was a tremendous loss for him as well. And I tried to be strong for him. I tried to get up, encourage him to do the best that he could do every day. But inside, I really felt like I was failing him, laying in the bed every day, experiencing darkness, just not wanting to get up and do anything. And I realized I was drowning within myself. My tears was drowning my own self internally. And, you reach out to family members, you reach out to friends, and you try to express what you're going through. And in a minority household, when you bring up going to counseling or trying to talk to a therapist. It's like, go to God about it, pray about it, it'll be okay. And I was like, I'm doing all of that, but I'm still not okay. I'm still not the person I was before I lost my dad or before I lost my grandma. Like, I need to do something outside of these walls to be able to bring myself back to the old person that I used to be. And I just kept doing research online about how other people were experiencing the same things that I were going through, and they reached out to a therapist. And I just started seeing like rave reviews how sitting down talking to a stranger relieves so much pressure off of them. So one day I was like, I have to try that. Like, no matter what, I have to try that. Like, I don't want to hear nobody's constructive criticism. Like, I just have to try it for myself. And here we are today, 4 years later, after going to therapy, and my therapist giving me the best advice ever, which was I had to learn how to grieve in a positive way.
Yeah.
And that for me was seeking God more, getting more in tune with myself, but actually allowing myself to be able to grieve.
Yeah.
And
Let me ask you, Shalia, what are some of the biggest misconceptions that you feel that we have in the minority or undeserved communities about seeking help and speaking with a counselor
I
or
really
a
think that
therapist?
it's more so generational passed on fears, because generations before us, they really didn't have like an open outlet, and therapy wasn't a big resource for them back in the day. So here we are in the present day, and it's something new, but it's still a barrier and a wall built up because nobody really took that deep dive to really find out what therapy really meant. So I
You
really
think
feel
it's like a trust factor?
I feel like it's a trust factor. I feel like it's more so maybe ashamed as well, because it's like
Mm,
I don't want to let anyone in or talk about my burdens and my problems and have a stranger judge me.
mm,
So we
that's
deal
good.
with we deal with that a lot in our
Yeah.
communities.
How do you think that bringing this awareness and treatment to our communities will help us, especially starting within our own families?
I really do think that it will break generational curses. I really do think that it will reach out and touch those that are suffering in silence to let them know that it's okay not to be okay. It's
Yeah.
really a stigma around not being okay. And if more people understood that it's really okay to let people know that you're suffering, then they would be more open to seeking the help that they really need. And it would change a lot.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Shalia, but growing up in the household where first thing they tell you, this my business, stay in this house.
Yes, yes,
You
yes.
don't tell my business, right? And then you start where I believe there's something that we take on with us, and we keep it to ourselves, and even those things that are hurting us, because we don't know how to have those conversations, because we're like, okay, if I tell or if I say something about something that's hurting me and bothering me, now I'm bringing our business outside the house, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
think it's something that we hold on to. Talk to me about when you said, you know what, I'm done. I don't care what nobody says. I don't even want to tell nobody. How did you feel in that moment? Were you afraid? Were you terrified? Tell me how you felt in that moment.
I wasn't really afraid because I was so tired of suffering. I
Mm,
felt like that was my last choice, my last option for me to seek therapy, because I really was just going to sit in the house and just basically die away from my own grief.
mm,
So when I reached that limit, I felt like it was really God giving that to me. I
mm.
really feel like it was God telling me like it's okay to seek help. No matter what, you've been told, or no matter what you've seen in the past, like it's okay to go get that help. That help that you deserve, not knowing that it was a bigger purpose behind me seeking that help.
Yes. Shalia, I want to talk about this. I think so many people, right? We experience loss, and, different loss. I mean, for a job, a career, family members passing, a relationship. Talk to me about what does depression look like? I think so many people think it looks a certain way, right? You have to be a walking zombie, you have to be this and that. But some people are out here functioning every day and are extremely depressed. Talk to us, Shalia, about what does depression look like? What does it look like?
So depression doesn't have a face. You know, you could be blue, purple, green, red, and be dealing with depression because, like you say, you have functioning, high functioning people that are suffering from depression, and you would never know. You know,
Yeah.
you have people who go to work every day, come home, be there for their families, and might cry for an hour in the shower.
Mm,
Depression looks like so many different ways that you wouldn't be able to say, oh, that's depression. Oh, that's anxiety. Oh, that's bipolar. You really can't put a tag on it because we've learned to adjust and we've covered ourselves with so many different masks these
mm,
days that you really can't give a title to what a person is going through until they actually tell you and express it themselves.
yeah. Yeah. And this is one of the things that I love about Woman Witness is because when we've been through something before, right? And it's not you went to school and got all these different degrees and you're qualified, if you will, or overly qualified to spot it. But I'm not saying that you may know everything to look for, Shalia, but how much easier is it now to look at someone and say, okay, they're suffering. How
It's
can I help?
it's really easy for me now because I can pull those layers back because
Mm,
I had to do it with them myself. So
mm,
when you've been through it, when you've had to do it, it's easy for you to detect it and feel that energy from a person to say, oh, it's okay to ask them how they're doing today because that how are you doing today might open them up to going into telling you how they're really feeling inside.
yeah. Tell us, Shalia, what did you need in that moment? What did you need from family and friends when you were at your lowest? What did you need?
I needed them to stop telling me that I was okay. I needed them to stop telling me that I was okay because I was not okay. And if one person would have just genuinely took the time to listen to me, they might have would have been like, hey, you know, I do feel like it's necessary for you to talk to someone outside of me or to seek the help because you really are suffering.
Mm,
But I can't blame them because how can they tell me or how can they detect when a person needs help if they're covering it up within themselves and struggling behind those doors within themselves?
mm. Okay, that was deep. That was deep. That was deep. Oh my gosh. I don't even know where to go with that, but I will say this. You're right. And I think far too often I'm sorry. I'm just thinking about if we bring it down to the simplicity of like your children, right? When they fall and you tell, get back up, you all right, right? And this is
Mhm.
what we want to do because this is what we are programmed to do. We're programmed to, band aid people and tell them go ahead and get back out there. But you're absolutely right. You don't know. So when do we as a community, Shalia, learn as a sister? I'm sitting here, if I have not experienced it, like you said, I could be masking it myself and don't even realize it. What do I say, Shalia? What is the right response that you give someone who says, man, they are hurting, but I want to uplift them. I want to tell them that they're okay. What do I say?
I would say in that moment, you find the words to muster up because at that time it's not a script or it's not nothing that you can memorize. I would say it's something that genuinely has to be placed in your lap. You pray about it. You ask God to give it to you and show you because He actually will show you. If you can't muster up those words, there have been times where I didn't know what to say. And I would say, God, lead me, or God, guide me, or God, give me the strength to be able to be strong enough to help them through what they're going through. And it doesn't happen overnight, but you actually can see the transition of the placement that you play in a person's life.
Shalia, that was so beautiful. I want to say, can I just point out what you just said and what I heard? You said that you actually go to God. about somebody else, that makes my heart happy. Because that is selfless. I believe that most of us, when we pray, we say, God is great, God is good. Let's take my root. And then we start asking for things for ourselves. But when do we go to God? When is the last time we went to God about somebody else? And he answers our prayers. Okay. How how can we begin to cultivate environments that prevent others from experiencing the same isolation and depression that we once faced?
Paying attention to the signs. Oftentimes we ignore the signs, and I think if we go back and look at the statistics of how many people have committed suicide, how many people have attempted suicide, how the age has decreased where you used to see suicide mostly in young adults to now we're seeing it in young teens and kids that are dealing with bullying and depression and abuse within those households. We have to become more attentive to the things that are happening around us. I think so many times we get caught up within self that we forget that there's an outside world that doesn't just involve us, to
Mm,
where if we open our eyes, we can simply help.
that's true. That's absolutely true. And you're right. We're I believe, oh man, I know you've seen some of these viral social media posts that go out where people are being bullied, or they're something is happening, and people turn the blind eye because they in a hurry. I'm about to be late.
Yes.
I don't have time to talk to you because I need to get caught up on my social media. I got to get this report out. At school, somebody's getting bullied, and this is going to segue into my next question. At school, someone is getting bullied, but yet we're so busy not wanting to be that next bully's victim, right? So we turn the blind eye. Shalia, I wanted you to talk to us about. You said that your son experienced the same loss that you did. How were you able to help him, or were you able to help him in that moment when you were trying to help yourself?
In the beginning, I would say that I didn't show up for him as strong as I could. I wouldn't say that I failed him, but I know that I could have been more for him in the beginning.
Mhm.
But there was a transition that I had to go through in order to be able to help him cope.
Mm.
And going through that transition and me healing within myself, I was able to show up and continue to help him cope while he was dealing with what he was dealing with as well.
Mm. That's good.
Thank
That's good. Go ahead. Know what you're gonna say?
No, I was gonna say now I do that not only for my son, but I do that with two Title I schools in Mecklenburg County where I live. I partner with my foundation with two Title I schools where we go in and give the kids a good time and an outlet to be able to express themselves, release, and also be awarded to let them know that there's actually genuine people out in the world that actually care about what they're going through.
I love that. And so, did you start? And now we're moving towards your organization. Did you start the organization with the thought in mind to help young people, or just anyone that you can affect?
When I first started the organization, I will be honest, I really didn't know where I was going with it. I just knew that the purpose centered around it was to break the cycle, to break the stigma around mental health, to get the conversation going again in minority communities where people had just closed the door on it. But throughout my journey, God has took the lead on my foundation.
Mm.
A lot of people see it, but it's like he's already shown it to me. Like he showed me where I'm going and where I'm headed. So this right here is just the beginning. And I deal with at-risk youth. I deal with elementary school kids, and I deal with a lot of vulnerable seniors. So it's a mixed population that really struggles with mental health. And I take pride in knowing that they found the trust in me to allow me and my team to assist them with their needs.
I love that. That's what it's all about, Shalia. It's all about going in there. And I promise you, it's something within you, even hearing you speak, and just I feel comfort. I feel that you're not giving me a script, you're giving me something that you've been through and gone through. Okay. I want to ask you about when you're out there, you're raising awareness. What strategies have you found to be effective in starting those conversations around mental health?
I will say what sets me apart is that I'm actually in the community. I'm not like a CEO and a founder that's just like making calls behind the computer or just sending emails or just popping up when it's fundraising time. Like I
Mm,
actually took a year and a half to get to know the community that I serviced. That was going door to door, that was introducing myself to businesses in that community, that was going to the schools, being able to share resources with them to allow them to get familiar and comfortable with me. So if I see a person that I have a relationship with that I've built over the years, that they might be having a bad day, going off on a person on the street, and I can say, hey, it's okay, come talk to me, to be able to calm them down. But it took me, I think people don't realize it takes time for a person that's going through something to build up that trust to be able to open up to you. And a lot of people are impatient. They don't have the patience
yeah.
to assist along a person's journey while they're going through something. And it's important because if someone took the time out to help us heal, why is it so hard to give back and help others?
Mm. Oh my gosh. And you are absolutely right, Shalia. And that's what it's all about. I just hear that when you begin, a couple things that you said that God showed you your vision. And as Habakkuk 2:2 says, write the vision and make it plain. Not only I feel that you started it, you are walking in it. And when you walk in it, your steps are already ordered. So I think sometimes people look at us, or they look at you and they say, man, how did she get this? One, she did that. She had the tears. You had to overcome it
Yes.
yourself. And now you're back out there walking it, not just talking about it, which leads me to my next thing. Do you have a book? Have you started a workshop or something along those lines where people can take that material home with them and begin
So
to
I
do?
So I don't have a book. I have a group called Express Yourself Roundtable Talk, where I partner with another local nonprofit called the Harvest Center of Charlotte, which
Mm-hmm.
is a passport transitional program where they allow families to come in and get on their feet before they go back out into the real world. So I do my cohorts, and I'm on my fourth cohort coming up, and it's just a group of young women where we gather every other Monday to talk about self-care, self-love, self-worth, how we apply it. And I think most of the women come because they need healing within themselves. But when I walk out that room, I feel like a part of them has healed me and continues to help me heal. So we're pouring and filling each other's cup.
Talk about being in the right environment. I
Yes.
think when you go and you're the only one who's pouring, that may not be the right environment for you.
No, it's draining.
It's draining. It is absolutely
It's
draining.
very draining, but it took me a while to understand that it was draining because I was still pouring into cups and not being refilled up. And I was like, in order for me to continue the journey that I'm on, I have to take time out and I have to stop doing certain things to be able to replenish my cup.
Yes, and that is okay. That is okay. And I love your reach, Shalia. I love the fact that you not only you're able to go into areas where you know what, I may not be getting them back from it, but then you also have areas where you know that you're going to be filled back up in these spaces. And I believe that's what it's all about. I want to talk about your long-term goals. I know you said that God showed you the vision, and I love it. I love talking to people who can see. I love vision. Where do you see your nonprofit? Where do you see your business? Where do you see Shalia in the next 5 years? What is your goals?
My goal is to have a wellness center, but not just any wellness center. You know, you have so many shelters and so many mental health centers that already exist. So I want to be 24 hours up and
Mm,
running, but I want to supply different things because you can't just say, oh, this person needs a prescription for some antidepressants, you know, or it's nothing that I can do for them. I wipe my hands with them.
mm,
My wellness center will be a calming center. We will have art rooms, we will have horticulture rooms, we will have different materials within those walls that cater to everybody. We would have a 24-hour dining hall where someone might come off the streets and need meal assistance. Might need housing assistance. We will just supply everything up under that one roof. But most importantly, when they walk into those walls, I want them to be able to feel the trust. I want them to be able to feel that they can let all their troubles and their burdens down because they're actually in a genuine place of care.
mm. Oh my goodness, you painted such a beautiful, beautiful picture. And I love it. And now, Shalia, for those who are listening and they love your vision and they see it for themselves, how can they support your nonprofit? Where can we go to? The end of the year is coming. If someone wanted to donate to your nonprofit to help this vision come to pass, how can they do that?
So you can follow us starting off on Instagram and Facebook at Life for the Hopeless Foundation. But if you're interested in volunteering or making a donation that is a charitable donation, you can find us at www.lifeforthehopeless.org, and that will give you all of our information about our program, how long we've been existing, our upcoming events, and it's also a tab there that will allow you to donate and pour back into our programs and everything that we do for the community.
I love that. Oh, okay. So before we wrap up, Shalia, I want to ask you a couple questions. I want to ask you what you've been through in overcoming and battling your depression. What would you have done differently, if anything?
If I would have known what I've known now, I just would have blocked out the noise. I probably would have started therapy when I was in high school, you know, just to have like an open outlet, like an open release to talk about different things that I was experiencing that I didn't really feel comfortable with talking to anyone else about. I really would have started my therapeutic journey earlier than now.
Mm, that's good. Okay, if someone is listening right now and they may be battling or they know someone who maybe they turned a blind eye to a couple times, or maybe they've told you're okay, get up. What would you say to those who are listening right now?
I would say go back. Go back because it's never too late to save a life. You never know when a person might just really have had enough, you know, and that day just might be the day. So it's always important to circle back. If a person tells you, I'm okay, but your spirit is still telling you that they're not okay, go back. It's okay to circle the block, as people say, and check on them just to let them know that they're okay. It's always okay to share different tip lines with them or different mental health resources that you've read about or saw along the way to say, hey, I know you might not feel comfortable talking to me, but I took it upon myself to do some research. And here are some options for you in your area if you ever feel the need to go and talk to someone, or if you feel the need that you just want to text someone, you know, to get advice for what you're going through. Just lend that hand because someone lent it to us. Why not lend it to them?
Mm, I love that so much. And lastly, Shalia, talk to that person who feels like, you know what, this is it. I'm I cannot go on. This depression is too heavy and there's no outlet for me.
I would tell them to look at me. I'm your example that it does get better. It doesn't happen overnight, but if you apply yourself and try, it will get better. I continue to pour into my community every day. But life is not a ray of sunshine for me. I still battle. I still go through things. I'm still grieving two people that I lost. So I am your witness. I am your proof that you can make it. Whatever you're going through, you can make it. So don't give up because you can make it.
Mm. So Leah. Okay. Shalia, such a powerful, powerful words, uh, a conversation that needs to be had. That need to be had. Grief is nothing nice, and it's not a respected person. So it doesn't, knock on the door and say, "Hey, I'm coming. I'm going to be here for a while." And it can turn into a lot of different things: to depression, anxiety, and just the feeling of hopelessness. I thank you for coming here, being vulnerable, sharing your truth. And I thank you for creating the space for others who are battling through the same thing. And I pray that everyone who is listening, as Shalia said, if you know somebody and you know that maybe perhaps you told them that it was going to be okay, go back. Go back. I think that's something that I'm going to take with me. I'm going to probably start using it right now. Go back. Go through that phone, give them a call, send them a text, and go back. What were you going to say, Shalia?
No, I was just going to let everyone know that World Mental Health Day is October the 10th. So if you want to get involved with anything dealing around mental health, that day signifies breaking the stigma around mental health. So do something in your community or in your home that allows you to reach back and help towards breaking the stigma around mental health.
That's good. That is so good. And I will put a post up.
Okay.
That put up. No, and no, I'm saying this to everybody. If you feel that you don't have the words to say, post it on your social media. Bring light to it. Give someone a hug. Literally dedicate that day. I think I will. Dedicate that day to give everybody a hug. You never know who needs it.
That's true. That is so true. A hug or a smile can make a world of difference.
Okay, Shalia, I took up a lot of your time. I want you to really think about, consider, pray on writing that book. I love your story. You have such a humble, sweet deliverance and real and authentic. And I know that it will be able to reach a lot of people, those people who may not feel comfortable giving you a call or even answering the phone or even responding to a text. If they had your book, your story in their hand, they can relate to it. But I thank everyone for coming in and watching this amazing episode with Shaleiah Sanders. We ask that you take it, you share it, you subscribe to Woman Witness Network. Follow Shaleiah on all social medias and make sure you stay up to date with what she's doing. And remember, the Mental Health Day is October 10th.
Yes.
Mental Health Day is October 10th. So if you don't catch it this year, catch it for next year. And then the year after, and start working towards it. Get in your community, find organizations like Shaleiah, any way that you can give, volunteer, or just support them, please do. Well, we thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Woman Witness Podcast, The Stories at the Well. I'm your host, Leah Fortier. Perhaps you're chosen for such a time as this to write, to tell your story, your truth. Until next time. Bye-bye.